Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're listening and where you're listening. Regardless, thank you for listening. The show is NXT Talk, where we talk about all things NXT, every brand humanly possible. We're hosts, I'm Boris, and as always, I'm joined by Matt.
Bonjour! How's everybody doing out there? We hope you are doing well. Boris shaking his head because I'm milking this bonjour gimmick longer and longer each week. I don't think Boris digs it, but we're going to keep doing it anyway, possibly precisely for that reason. How you doing today, big homie?
I'm doing good. Oh, you kill me sometimes. Yeah. And you know what the funniest part is? I can easily edit it out. Actually, I can't because of the music, but I'm going to get you one day. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like we were talking about, like right before we started recording, I'm a little stuffy. Not that I'm complaining, but the weather has been relatively good here in Toronto the past few days, especially Sunday. Sunday was just magnificent. It was plus 17 degrees Celsius. We did have 90-kilometer winds, but it was such a nice day. And then by Sunday night, I went out for a little bit, and it was back to negative weather. So just up and down weather, just absolutely killing my body.
Yeah, the schizophrenic Toronto weather. Yeah, you could probably hear it in our voices, actually. I'm a little stuffed up too, big homie. Yeah, it's them spring allergies, but it's a beautiful day today. It's above the Mendoza line, 3 degrees right now, so that's good.
Exactly. That's all you can ask for at this point. But yeah, no, man. All right, gotta ask you. First impressions, WWE 2K22.
Oh, yeah, I actually really like it. It's definitely the best wrestling game since 2K13. I need more time to declare it the best game since Here Comes the Pain, but it's a humongous step in the right direction. I really like it a lot. I think after playing a bunch of matches, it's possible that the controls might get a little samey. Like they did simplify things, and after playing hundreds or thousands of matches, like months, years down the road, it might become a little boring, but we'll worry about that bridge when we cross it, right? First impressions are actually pretty extremely high. I'm quite pumped.
Yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. I've been reading kind who generally criticized past tense WWE 2K20, just, kind of cautiously optimistic about this game. Which is funny because if you hated WWE 2K20 that much, it makes me laugh that you would pre-order this game so that you can get the exclusive window, the early access, I should say. But yeah, in some Facebook groups I've seen, some other friends that I have, they're actually really liking the game a lot so far.
Definitely, and like a huge roster. I think there's once you play through the Rey Mysterio thing and unlock all the wrestlers there and unlock everyone else, there's like 190 people on the roster before DLC, before you download any of the 100 spots you have for custom wrestlers too, right? So you can have a humongous roster on this game.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear, man. But yeah, so I'm going to give you a little more time. We're going to chat a little more about the game as we go on. I'll have access to the game on Friday. I wasn't going to pay early. I honestly, I just assumed I wasn't going to have time. Go figure, I do have a little bit of time this week. But today has just been back-to-back meetings. But then after we record this, I got nothing to do.
Word up. Hey, man. Well, if you find yourself back in the city, let me know. We'll rip a couple matches, let you try it out. I got some controllers for the old PS4. But yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty solid.
Yeah. It's just been busy. Just generally busy, but things have been going well. Man, so NXT, what a show.
Yeah, the good stuff is pretty good on this show, and I thought this was actually all in all a really good wrestling show. Like really good, one of the better 2.0s I've ever seen. But the bad stuff on it is still like laughably bad and embarrassing for all involved. But like all things considered, if you look at the highlights, if you look at what happened, I actually do think it was a good wrestling show from the 2.0 brand, and you can count those on your one hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you take a look at, and I've been saying this the past few weeks, each segment has its merits. And I kind of view the show segment by segment as opposed to a show as a whole. But after I watched last night's show, I'm like, you know what? End to end, from 8 till about 10 p.m. The show was pretty good.
Absolutely. I thought so too, man. And coupled with NXT UK, which wasn't quite as strong on the whole, but still had a couple awesome promos and a fabulous main event. This is a pretty fun podcast worth of stuff. Also, Level Up, which exists.
It exists. It's a thing.
it's there.
It takes up time on the network, right? Like, but you know what? Honestly, what did you expect from Level Up?
Yeah, it's a half hour, so it's an easy watch, but at the same time, it's still so pointless that I might be out most weeks. Like if someone I'm super interested in, like a Nikita Lyons or whoever it may be, wrestles, or if like a particularly good or bad match happens that we get word about, I'll go back and watch. But I think officially we've given it 3 weeks, and I am out watching it week by week. Just some weeks it's just so pointless. Like 2.5 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars is what I have written down right here.
Yep, that's exactly it, right? And then, it is what it is. So basically, all I'm gathering is the next time Lash Legend fights on NXT Level Up, we're going to be watching to see how bad it is.
At least that one match, yes. Again, it's a half-hour show, but it's still so nothing happening that it feels skippable even at 30 minutes.
Yep, exactly. That's unfortunate. All right, before we get started on the show itself, let's jump ahead. Let's talk about the ending of this show, because it's something. I was trying to find the proper words for it, but they made decisions.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of like this call. I don't think it's the worst idea to use the NXT title, to use the NXT champion in this way. Have it be a wrestler on the main roster who's kind of like a veteran near the end, possibly slightly past his prime, but still can absolutely go, and have him help the younger generation literally, and have him hold the title, have him be the actual physical gatekeeper. You must defeat this man to climb the mountain. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. And essentially what we're talking about, it's, if you've been living under a rock for the past 12 hours or 16 hours or so, Dolph Ziggler is your new NXT champion. He beat Bo Ciampa and Braun Breaker with 2 Ks to get the title. And yeah, I agree with you, man. I honestly agree with you, because you've essentially explained and described the plot line to one of my favorite baseball movies and movies in general. That's Bull Durham.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it doesn't go exactly like that. But yes.
Where's Susan Sarandon when you need her?
That is a classic tale, though, Boris. I believe an Oscar-winning or at least nominated film, and yeah, man, for good reason. Incredible movie, and yeah, absolutely, buddy. Like this is okay. This is not a big deal. I'm kind of intrigued to see where Dolph Ziggler goes, although he is, as they say, a transitional champion. This man's not holding the title for 300 days.
He's holding the title till Stand and Deliver.
Exactly.
And let's be honest, Stand and Deliver is in the main arena in Dallas, right? I know they're gonna like not sell every ticket, but they're going to the arena in Dallas. This isn't gonna be in some convention hall. This isn't gonna be in some small little parking lot or something. They're going to the arena on Saturday morning, early Saturday afternoon, WrestleMania Day 1. So you need that attraction outside of Toxic Attraction to get asses in seats.
Absolutely. And like the hardcore fans will know that whatever the ladder match is going to be will be pretty spectacular in a car crash. But you're completely right. And maybe Dolph Ziggler, as an established WWE superstar, Boris, is the man to actually kind of help Braun Breaker sell some tickets. Maybe Dolph Ziggler is a bigger name and more of a draw than Tommaso Ciampa, although I think that could be very easily argued.
Yep, it can be. Especially when you think about NXT fans, right? Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see exactly what happens. We'll see who he ends up facing. But one question before we get started on the actual show itself. Is this what Dolph Ziggler is going to do during WrestleMania weekend?
Oh, for sure. He's not going to have a match on Mania, no, but he's going to main event stand and deliver in an arena, possibly with Ciampa too, and they'll just run this triple threat back, maybe with a gimmick. But I'm thinking it's 1v1 Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker, main event wrestling match. And that's your pay-per-view main event quality test for Braun Breaker. Can he go 20 minutes, 15, 20 with like one of the established veterans in WWE, one of the guys who's been there for over a decade?
Yep, exactly. And Braun Breaker is showing some skills that I didn't think he really had, and we're gonna get to that as we talk about the show. So, having said that, this is my segue into actually talking about the show itself. But before we do that, Matt, we gotta talk about star ratings.
Yes, we are the young guns, Boris, and as such, we are done with star ratings. We try to have a rating system du jour, change it up every week, try to go with like the theme of the program that we just watched and have some fun with it, right? So we all thought that NXT was going to zig and Braun Breaker was going to, win this title and keep on keeping on. But they zagged on us, Boris, and the zigzag himself, Dolph Ziggler, won the NXT title. So I think we got to go zags out of 5 on this one. Shout out Dolph Ziggler. Shout out Gonzaga, the Bulldogs. Hope you win March Madness. We're going zags out of 5, buddy.
Exactly. All right, sounds good. Man, the more I'm talking, like, the more I'm feeling just congested in the head.
In the sinus lodged in that region,
yeah,
right
here, like as I'm pointing, because everyone can see on a podcast what I'm pointing to, but my eyes and like my nose and my head is just like, ooh. All right. Anyways, let's get to business. All right, the show starts off. Toxic Attraction. They're in their lounge. They're watching the Dusty Cup with curious eyes. And this leads us into the first match, which was a semifinal match of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu.
I did think it was pretty funny. Toxic Attraction had like Chippendales dancers, basically shirtless boy whores, as it were, serving them drinks. So that was kind of hilarious. And it would pay off to an even funnier thing down the road in the show. So like sometimes NXT tries some comedy and it's god awful, but sometimes they actually hit a home run or at least a single down the line. This was a single.
Yeah, exactly. This was a single in the grand scheme of stuff, right? Like it's so cliche, so cheesy that it just works sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. That's pro wrestling. I mean, sometimes you got to lean into it. You can't lean into it too hard all the time or else you get like, Wendy Chu. But she's an incredible performer, but man, I'm just the girl in her pajamas is not doing it for me.
Oh no, it's exactly. That's the unfortunate part there, right? So let's talk about this match. What did you think of this match? So this match, I guess, like story-wise, you got 3 out of 4 faces. Dakota Kai is kind of like a crazy tweener right now, but it was just friendly competition. No one went out of their way to cheat out of the 4 people in this match. ...
This was as official a babyface turn as you will ever see in WWE, I think, in this match. Dakota Kai was hardcore pretty heelish until this match when she had a chance to attack Raquel Gonzalez after Raquel had been beaten up with a weapon by other heels. And rather than join in with the heels, which Boris put a little pin in that because we'll talk about it in WWE NXT UK coming up later on the program. But anyway, rather than join with the heels, she was her own person and she did not attack the wounded Raquel Gonzalez. She did not want the win that way. So that was an official babyface turn right there, homie. Dakota Kai is no longer crazy crackhead heel. She's now crazy crackhead babyface.
Exactly. And one thing I did notice, and I watched the show a little later, and I was still monitoring the Facebook group here and there, but it was after the fact, so I couldn't really chime in. And one thing a lot of people were saying was the heel face dynamic and how that's very blurry in NXT. You know what? I can't agree with that. I feel like last night, heels doing quote unquote face stuff, which we're going to get to in a little bit with Carmelo Hayes, made sense. Dakota Kai turning essentially face because she didn't want to win that cheaply made sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. And Dakota Kai's character has been so up and down that it's kind of hard to pinpoint. But other than the fact that I remember her turning on Tegan Nox was pretty evil, actually. I'm trying to think of other things that she's done that have been so terrible. She turned on Raquel, but that was out of professional jealousy. That's like hardly the worst thing that a wrestler's ever done. Her turn on Tegan Nox actually in War Games was very brutal, though. That was pretty big heel stuff.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. That was crazy. And it feels like such a lifetime ago.
Oh my God,
Jesus
not even
Christ.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
so this match was okay. Like, it wasn't offensive. I didn't think it was good. I thought the interference thing was kind of a cheap way to get Cora and Raquel out of the tournament, but it sets up a future match. And I do love Cora's fire later in the show, so it did pay off. But yeah, this match itself, not that good.
That's exactly it, right? I feel like this kind of sprung out into future programs that we're going to be seeing in future storylines, and that's something that NXT actually does a pretty good job of doing, is following up on the seeds that they plant. As subtle and weird, as dumb as they are sometimes, they at least follow up more than even the main roster does. So what we were referring to earlier, Gigi Dolan attacks Gonzalez when the referee was distracted in the outside. They pull their best Tanya Harding impression and try to take out Raquel Gonzalez with the match. As Matt alluded to, Dakota Kai didn't want to win that way, so they keep on wrestling. But so Gonzalez was about to hit a Chincona bomb on Kai, but she let go, selling the leg injury. Kai hit Gonzalez with a Yakuza kick. Chu hit Gonzalez with her version of the Vader bomb. And Kai hits Gonzalez with a double stomp for the win at 10 minutes, 42 seconds.
Couple big upsets for Dakota and Wendy, and Dakota has pinned some big wrestlers with that double stomp off the top rope. So a renewed push for Dakota Kai, some faith in Wendy Chu. They're going to the finals. This kind of shocked me. Also worth noting, it looked like Gigi Dolan used a shillelagh. Little Finley influence there.
Yep. That's exactly it. All right, so how would you rate this match, man?
A good effort, nothing terribly wrong with it, but also I couldn't call it a good match in any way. So that feels like a classic 2 zags out of 5. Slight fail, but not a bad effort.
I would have at least given this the Mendoza line, to be honest.
Now, I thought it was kind of below. I thought it was worse than average, but hey, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
You know, anyways, we'll keep on going. We'll keep on trucking. All right, after this, Tommaso Ciampa cut a promo in front of his garage door. Not his garage door, a garage door, but he seems to own this garage door as he cuts most of his promos there. Ciampa said that his next match means more for him than the NXT title. He said if he wins, he'll walk into Stan and Miller as the main eventer. Ciampa said Breakker and Ziggler can fight hard to be 2A and 2B, but the gap between 1 and 2 is too huge. Ciampa said, you're looking at number 1, me, Tommaso Ciampa, the main event, the next NXT champion.
Typical solid Tommaso Ciampa promo. These are always a treat. You raise a good point, though. Do we know that he's backstage at the PC? Maybe this is his home. Maybe he just has a really big shed, Boris.
I love that. All right, Tiffany Stratton heading to the ring. Sarai could be seen creeping around the corner.
So stay woke. Sarai creeping.
Yep.
She gonna find you. Gonna catch you sleeping, Boris.
Yeah, this was a thing. All right, cameras then cut to the Creed brothers rolling around injured in the parking lot. Someone attacks them. OMG.
So I did think this was a strong NXT, but kind of lazy in that we saw a random shillelagh attack. Here we saw the aftermath of a random crowbar attack. There were crowbars on the ground. And later we would see a slapjack used, Boris. And I'm not talking about Shane Thorne. I mean the actual weapon, slapjack, like Stevie Ray used to use.
Yeah, man. The parking lot in any wrestling event is the most dangerous place.
Oh my God, yeah. I would take Uber and get the hell in and out as fast as possible.
All right, we cut to Cora Jade and the trainers checking on Raquel Gonzalez. One thing I really liked about this is Cora Jade, knowing what happens later on in the show, looking back at this segment, you knew that she was angry. You knew that she was kind of plotting.
Yes. And Cora Jade is charismatic. She does well with the dumb lines she's given, right? We say this all the time. She's more charismatic than she is a great actor at this point in her career. But when you have a simple wrestling storyline like this person hurt your friend, you are mad at them. All she has to do is rely on her charisma and her personality and her gifts, which are her unspoken, wordless communication. You know what I mean? So, man, this was actually pretty good. And it got even better later in the show.
Exactly. All right, second match of the night, Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley. This was a thing. Only went 2 minutes, 50 seconds.
Yes. Yeah, it was indeed a thing. Kind of surprising as Fallon Henley pins Tiffany Stratton due to Sarai interference, Boris. Yeah, well, actually, I'll say more about Fallon Henley later, but she's a scrappy little baby face. I like her.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure about having her with Briggs and Jensen, but whatever. It's a story. Gives people some stuff to do. So after the match, Briggs and Jensen hold up Henley on their shoulders as if she just won a championship. But she did, in fact, win her first match here. And like you said, Sarai kind of attacks Tiffany Stratton. So that's a thing that seems to be happening.
Yeah, they're slightly different, but I do kind of think it's funny that Tiffany Stratton and Xia Brookside are doing the same gimmick, and now they have the same losing streak going on too. And now they have the same, like, I'm going to call up daddy and get revenge for my losses, which are other people's fault thing. They're just in the exact same spot almost. Exactly.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. And I like when I saw, I guess, depending on what show you watch first, it's just like, oh man, it's the exact same thing. All right, so the show cuts to Andre Chase teaching a lecture. He blamed his loss on being distracted by his students sucking at a proper entrance routine. Chase said the only good student is Bodie Hayward. Hayward had a serious case of pink eye or an ass kicking or something. Chase continues to curse everyone out. Okay, this had no business being as amazing as it was.
Yeah, and a big part of it too is that the crowd loves it, and it makes you want to think like, okay, there's something to this guy. There must be, because the crowd is losing their minds, and it's not piped in cheers. You can tell the difference, and this is case number one in telling the difference. Go watch this promo back. The crowd is laughing along and loving it. So I don't know if it's going to work on the mainstream, as they say, but right now for the NXT audience, especially the live crowd, they love Andre Chase, and it's really working, man. This was hilarious. Obvious makeup job for Bodie Hayward, like you said. Also, just to go back slightly, previous match, another 2 zags out of 5. Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley. To me, it was the same kind of thing. Much shorter, but just, yeah, sloppy NXT women's match.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, going back to the Andre Chase thing, like, just the swearing, just everything, the deliveries, everything about this is so effing good. But like you said, this is a NXT thing. This will never make it on the main roster, I think.
Yeah, it's Keegan-Michael Key's coach from Mad TV. Those old skits. I forget what the coach was. It's not Coach Carter. That was Samuel L. Jackson in an actual movie. But no, I just forget, man. But yeah, it's that character. It's Keegan-Michael Key-esque. That's why people like it. It's like a tale as old as time. It's Bobby Knight, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, cut to Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams bragging about Melo's recent win. Melo said he makes the rules because he's the A champ. Melo reiterated that in honor of the first North American Championship match, he's going to be defending the title at Stand and Deliver in a ladder match. Trick recommended that 4 more wrestlers be in the match and that they'll all have to qualify. Trick then got scared because he was afraid of heights. Melo said he's going to have the performance of a lifetime and prove he's the greatest North American champion NXT has ever seen. Melo did his Melo don't miss catchphrase.
So, Boris, how do you feel about the heel, the bad guy, wanting to be in a ladder match?
He's calling his shot. He is so confident in his abilities as the A champ that he can defend his title no matter what. See, there's shitbag heels who run away from a fight, and then there are heels like this, and in history there have been heels like this who will put up their title against anyone because they're so cocky and so confident in their ability that they can beat anyone, anywhere, any place, and they want to put their place in history.
Exactly. But the heel heat comes from the fact that he has a bodyguard and he's a shit talker, and he'll take any shortcut. He'll cheat his ass off to actually win. And then he'll lie and say that he did it on his own. Right. And that's where the heel heat comes. So exactly, man, there's not only one blueprint, right? Like it's not as easy as saying, oh, this guy is heel, therefore he must do A, B, and C. And if he does not do those things, this is bad. And I feel like sometimes as wrestling fans, we can fall into a trap of saying like, well, that's not how you do this. You know what I mean? Because we do know a lot and we are passionate. But sometimes, Boris, you just got to kind of take a step back and just enjoy the show you're watching and not try to super overanalyze it as we are doing a podcast talking about 3 different NXT shows. We obviously are guilty of overanalyzing, but we try to talk about these things in a fun way. Anyway, I thought it was a really strong promo. I think it makes total sense for Melo to do this. He's not The Miz, he's Shawn Michaels. You know, that's the difference.
That is a difference right there. All right, so from 2 very strong promos to Lash Legend welcoming Nikita Lyons as her guest. Legend took a shot at Nikita, saying that her mom's groupie that may have gotten around. Lyons said her mom is a free spirit, and she taught her not to be judgmental of other people. Lyons got in Nikita's face and claimed that Nikita has butt implants. Nikita said she's all natural. The segment ended with both women arguing with each other.
Yeah. So like I said before, I would, because you're probably expecting like a 50-50 match here between 2 strong athletes. I would have Nikita squash Lash Legend. And that doesn't mean like don't push Lash ever again. And that doesn't mean like Nikita's going to the main event right away and Lash is never gonna, like she's going to get fired. That just means in this first contest, I would tell the story that Nikita is a skilled combat artist and Lash is just an athlete. And they got into a fight and Nikita whipped her ass. But Lash being an athlete, she's going to be the one who trains, gets good at this, and then she's the one who eventually ends Nikita Lyons' winning streak. That's how I would push this entire feud and have it take like 6 months to a year. And if they both get really good, that could be incredible. Now, for Lash Legends, that's looking like a long shot.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think they're both pretty good characters. We have a clear heel face divide yet again. Lash Legend obviously heel. Nikita Lyons officially manic pixie baby face. Boris, she is now the manic pixie dream girl of wrestling. She is everything to every man.
Sure. Yeah, the attention that she's getting outside of the NXT circles is crazy, dude.
She's got a lot of potential, man. Like sky is the limit. If she continues on this trajectory, and we're going to see there will be bumps in the road, but you know, she could be the female Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Blonde Breaker.
Oh, God. All right. The hardest working reporter in all professional wrestling, Mackenzie Mitchell, interviews Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner and wondered if they attacked the Creed brothers. Bartel said blind attacks are beneath them. Bartel said it's the Creed's fault for getting attacked earlier. Wesley and Nash Carter showed up. They challenged Imperium if the Creeds aren't able to wrestle.
Okay, so they're kind of doing a whodunit with this attack. I kind of like that. Who do you think done it?
Rikishi. Always Rikishi.
But why would The Rock
need He did it for The Rock.
Why would The Rock need him to attack fucking Diamond Mine, though? Here's what I think is happening, Boris. I think it's a false flag attack. I think they perpetrated it themselves to get out of this title match, to just kind of have it on their own terms. Who knows? I think it's going to be a Vince Russo style dumb swerve. But that's my guess. It's a fake attack. It was perpetrated by Malcolm Bivens and such to turn them back heel.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that somehow it's going to end up being MSK's and because they're like teetering, right? They've been teetering on a heel turn for a while.
Well, I thought, though, that they were kind of moving away from it after they brought them back with Matt Riddle. But you were right. Going into that Matt Riddle stuff, 100% you're right. So who knows?
Yep. All right. LA Knight makes his entrance, and then we cut to the back. Briggs and Jensen were chatting with Fallon Henley about who might have attacked the Creeds. Briggs saw Legado del Fantasma and noted that Legado usually attacks people in the parking lot because, again, the parking lot the safest place for all of professional wrestlers. Joaquin Wilde said that if they attacked the Creeds, then you would know about it. Escobar noted that the Creeds eliminated Briggs and Jensen, and they might have wanted to attack the Breeds as payback. Electra Lopez said Jensen is just sour because he cannot get laid.
that was still beating that horse. And then
speaking of beating.
Anyway, so this
it's wrestling.
Is still going on.
You're gonna beat your opponent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's exactly what you meant. I apologize. I am sorry. I flew off the handle there. Anyway, Boris, they're getting slightly better, but they would have to because they were like bottom of the barrel stuff. So whatever. It's fine. This is their character. It is what it is. I do think we're leading to Fallon Henley and Brooks Jensen hooking up. I think that's kind of going to be the way this plays out.
You think it's going to be Jensen? I think it's going to be Briggs.
Oh, interesting. That's fun. Well, that would kind of break up the team, though. I feel like maybe not. Who knows?
All right. One night, Grayson Waller, last man standing match. Okay, so we always talk about Cameron Grimes needing to just get that shot on the main roster. We've talked about LA Knight. Honestly, LA Knight is beyond ready at this point.
Oh, yeah. He was ready before he got to NXT, though. But, like, he's been ready for years.
Yeah, well, LA Knight, maybe it was just a change in environment. Maybe it was the WWE style. Maybe it was even the change in name. But he just never really looked great. But the past few weeks, his promos have been fantastic. His matches have been good. And last night, again, just a really good match with a really green guy in Waller.
Yeah, and the crowd is really responding to him as a babyface. Yeah, this is one of his better matches in NXT, if not his best. Although I do think he had a couple better ones with Cameron Grimes and the Ted DiBiase stuff. But this was a very strong match. I was really, really liking it. I was flirting with that 4-star, 4 zags out of 5 range. But I do think the stuff with Sanga really slowed it down, really hurt it in the middle of this match, near the middle end. But other than the Sanga stuff, I actually quite enjoyed this match a lot, like through and through, other than that one pretty big blip.
Yes. Knight and Waller were brawling at the top of the crow's nest. Knight punches Waller off the crow's nest. He sends him to the floor. Knight celebrating with the fans, and Sanga shows up, carries Waller, a la the bodyguard, a la Homer Simpson. Yeah, he carries him to the ringside. Knight then hits Sanga with a chair, which Sanga no-sold. Sanga gave Waller a choke slam on the apron. Mackenzie Mitchell cuts in, saying that MSK is now officially going to be facing Imperium. Going back to the match, Waller begged for mercy when Knight was going for a chair shot. Sorry. Sanga tries to hank. Okay, this is where things get a little crazy. But you know what? And this is my issue with last man standing matches. It's as if in WWE, they're so afraid of just not legitimately beating someone up, but you're going to know what I mean. Legitimately beating someone up to the point where they cannot get up at a 10 count, that they try to create these creative ways of ending these last man standing matches. And it's just overbooked nonsense sometimes.
Rather than going for like violence, pure violence, to use a word that AEW has been throwing around a lot lately, they try to go for like spectacle, right?
Yeah. That's exactly it. Couldn't put it better myself. So Sanga tries to handcuff Knight to the bottom rope, but Knight turned the tables, cuffed Sanga to the ring post. Knight hit Waller with a neck breaker and a power slam. Waller used a thumb to the eye to block a BFT attempt. Knight blocked Waller's finisher, then tosses Waller to a table from the ring out to ring the outside. Waller beat the 10 count. Knight went back punching Waller at ringside. So this is when Waller starts begging for mercy that Knight was going to go for a chair shot, puts the can over his head, starts hitting him with it. He starts then hitting Sanga several times. Knight cleared the announce table, was about to suplex Waller, but Waller knocked out Knight with a slapjack. Waller elbow dropped Knight through the table. Waller climbs onto Sanga's back to beat the 10 count, but Knight couldn't beat the count.
Yeah, spectacular spot there where it looks like Grayson Waller is about to get suplexed through the announce table. He pulls out the slapjack, like you said, Boris, knocks out LA Knight, goes to the top rope, and a la Shane McMahon jumps off the top rope through the announce table. He throws in the double through the legs, the double Kobe, the double VC, as it were, half man, half amazing Grayson Waller. Half Australian survivor. But yeah, this was a really strong match, man. I actually really liked it. I even thought the finish was pretty clever where he couldn't get to his feet on his own. He had to climb onto Sanga's back, and Sanga stood up, pulling Grayson Waller up to his tippy toes, and the ref counted it.
Yep. This match went 16 minutes. And this is the thing. While overbooked, little nonsensical, I kind of did like this ending because it was Sanga who this is the reason why he's there, is to help Waller win.
Yeah.
And he just literally helped him win in this match as he was handcuffed, to the ring post.
Yeah, the handcuff spot like slowed it down, and LA Knight weakly pulling Sanga and his head grazing the post. I don't buy that would have knocked him out for 5 minutes and had him selling like he did. Like the handcuff thing was the fatal flaw of this otherwise pretty great match.
Especially,
so we're gonna go 3. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Especially right after he completely no sells a chair shot.
Yeah, exactly, right. But that him grazing the post ever so slightly puts him out. Man, I've seen Nigel McGuinness headbutt that thing like Zinedine Zidane. Are you kidding me? Anyway, I'm not advocating that. Don't ever do that, by the way. But yeah, Boris, very good match. Probably match of the show, even above the triple threat, in my opinion. We're gonna go 3 3/4 zags out of 5. Really good stuff.
Really good match. Really good match. Waller continues to probably get the most legit heat in NXT.
Yes. One thing I'm slightly disliking is he's kind of doing the cool heel, kind of becoming more Kevin Nash and less actual dickhead heel, more Kevin Nash, less Terry Funk. You know what I mean? But that's going to happen. He's a young kid. Obviously, he's going to want to stunt out and be cool and try to, get them likes for real and stuff. So yeah, it was about to happen, but yeah, he's no longer just pure heel. He's kind of doing the cool bad guy thing a lot lately.
Yeah. And, we were praising Waller because it seemed like he just didn't give a shit that he was going to be the heel's heel. But, the past few weeks, he's kind of been trying to act a little cool, which again, hopefully, like you said, because he's young, he wants that attention, but, he needs to go back to just getting legit, absolute heel heat.
And who knows how much control over that he has himself,
exactly.
You know what I mean, as a performer. But in my opinion, that's where that performer should be headed, is more to the actual dislikable and less to the cool side, just because it's so generic. And he kind of did have something special there the first couple of weeks.
Yep. All right. Braun Breaker talks backstage. He's sitting down, kind of staring at his NXT championship, reflecting on his time as champion. He said he busts his ass because he loves the business. He said he understands the hard work the champions before him, the champions before him put, which inspires him to keep the title. Breaker said he's going to break through the roadblock put in front of him tonight. Outside of that last line, where he breaks through the roadblock put in front of him, love WWE and their marketing. Dude, I really like this promo.
It was very good. It was pretty solid. The best promo in his short career, obviously. I don't even know what you would point to other than this. But yeah, no, good job on the stick, as they say, by Braun.
Yep. A-O, Gabagool. Tony D'Angelo hanging out at his cousin's Mikey's restaurant. He was eating Big Ziti, which looked pretty good. D'Angelo talked about how his cousin hustled his way to a successful business, and he said he's going to hustle his way to the top of NXT. Matt, if Breaker or Ciampa were to win the championship or retain the championship, depending on who won, I would have said Tony D'Angelo is going to get the next shot at Stand and Deliver, but it's looking more and more like he's going to likely be in the ladder match.
So what? No fucking ZD now? Boris. Yeah, but yeah, no,
one
so
of
it
the
looks
best lines in that show, period.
It's so good. It's in the pilot episode too, I think.
Yep.
But man, I love that. I gotta go back and watch The Sopranos. God damn it, I love that show so much. Anyway, yeah, this was This was good. It seems like cousin Mikey's coming in. He's going to be Tony D'Angelo's backup. That's where it seems like this promo is going. And I agree. Yeah, Tony D'Angelo will end up in the ladder match, I think, and not against Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. You see, if this was classic WWE, I don't know why, in my head, when he was talking about cousin Mikey, all I could picture was Mikey Whipwreck.
Oh my God, yeah. Mikey Whipwreck isn't moving around too well these days. I think he's having some health issues lately, but that would be awesome to see old school Mikey Whipwreck. That's a WWE 2K thing right there.
Yep, and I honestly feel like he would fit into this character.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah, he's kind of perfect. He got that like New York kind of thing, although Tony D is Chicago. It's still kind of similar, you know?
Yeah. All right, Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro made their entrance. Vic Joseph hypes up WWE celebrating National Women's Month. Idris Sanofi, right? You see, the reason why I say that is as they're hyping up National Women's Month, Idris Sanofi, Malik Blade attacks Mandy Rose's male servers.
Yeah, shall we say?
Slave boys. So
wenches?
Menches, yes. So they can take their place as Rose's manservants. Blade handed Rose some grapes. Honestly, Malik Blade and Idris Sanofi, throughout this entire bit, their faces just made it.
And what was so funny is you'd expect WWE, typical WWE, Vince McMahon humor to me would be like Mandy Rose notices and goes, oh, and they have a big to do. But Mandy Rose never noticed or gave a shit because she doesn't care what the help is doing. She's watching the match. The help is the help. That was so perfect.
Dude, it would have been funny if she literally saw the other guys like drenched on the floor and just said, meh, I'm still getting my stuff.
Actually, that would have been funny too, but I definitely like that she didn't react or notice or care at all. I thought that was way funnier than having her notice and give a shit about this. So I actually, this popped me. It was kind of a funny little thing.
Yep. Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray versus Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Semifinal match of the Women's Dusty Tag Team Classic. All right. Before we talk about who won this match, did you 100% predict this match?
No, I could see this one going either way for sure. This was the most like iffy of this was the real final of the Dusty
100%.
I think it kind of lived up to that. This was a shockingly good match, man. It was really, really good. I was surprised about how good Casey and Caden looked. They kept up with Io and Kaylee. They have a lot of confidence in the ring. They don't seem green. I'm sure they are still green. Like they're not the Young Bucks in there yet, you know what I mean? But they don't seem like lost or scared at all at any point. They held their own with two of the best female wrestlers alive. So hats off. This was a really good match.
This was a fun match. The crowd loved it. The crowd just absolutely ate every spot up too.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, no, to answer your original question, this was up in the air. I actually had no idea who would win.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I really enjoyed that aspect of this match. Because you can make arguments for either team winning. And at times, it really looked like Io and Kaylee Ray were going to win. At times, it looked like Carter and Catanzaro were going to win. So this match was just really well done. The crowd was really hot for it. You had some really, really good spots. There were some crazy spots, especially that, I guess, how would you describe that? I'm talking about like that Hurricane Rana, Poison Rana.
Oh my God.
Off the shoulders.
It was a doomsday Poison Rana. So Caden Carter has Kaylee Ray up on her shoulders, and then Casey Catanzaro jumps up on Kaylee's shoulders, a triple doomsday. And from that position, Casey does a reverse Hurricane Rana, doomsday style, off of Caden's shoulders onto Kaylee Ray. Absolutely insane. So dangerous, man. Literally could die from a move like that. Like absolutely easily could.
And Kaylee Ray sold that so well that because of her hair, you didn't see exactly how she landed. So I was a little nervous for a split second, but holy crap, was that just an amazing spot.
That's like, yeah, A+ difficulty and A+ execution on that spot. It literally looked like Kaylee died. And when you see the slow motion replay, her head didn't touch really at all. Or if it did, it was like in the safest possible way to do that move where she rolls forward. And like, yeah, it was very dangerous. You could argue a terrible idea, but boy, did they pull it off. It was spectacular.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and the crowd was just going berserk for this. Carter gives Ray a super kick. Shirai crotched Casey on the top rope. Casey blocked a double suplex. Carter shoved Shirai to ringside. Carter and Kanzaro hit Ray with a Doomsday Poison Rana, as we talked about. Shirai broke up the pin. Ray hit Kanzaro with a gory bomb. Shirai hit Kanzaro with a moonsault. They end up getting the win in 7 minutes, 59 seconds to advance to the finals of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yeah, they like have this match 1,000 times. This might be the best version of it. Like 999 versions of this match probably look worse than the one they had here. This was an awesome wrestling match. We're gonna go 3.5 zags out of 5. And Boris, that might be too low. This might have been match of the night above Grayson Waller and LA Knight. Although just off the top of my head, I think it was LA Knight and Grayson were better. This was under 8 minutes, but still a spectacular all action match.
It just goes to show you, we've talked about this. Not every match needs to be 15 minutes. Not every great match needs to be 35, 40 minutes. You can do an amazing job in 8 minutes.
100% agree with you, buddy. And the real final of the Women's Dusty Cup, it lived up to my personal hype level for it. I thought they delivered more than delivered.
Like I put in my notes, this was the equivalent of the 1992-1993 NFC Championship, because you knew Buffalo Bills were going to lose because Bills forever suck.
Harsh, but good pull. I love where your head's at, buddy.
All right, so Mandy Rose kind of giving a little bit of respect to the winners, and that's when Cora Jade attacks Mandy Rose on her sex couch. Blade and Inofi pull both women apart.
On the casting couch. Yeah, Cora Jade flying in out of nowhere and beating the shit out of Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose firing back up. And then Edris kind of holding back Cora Jade like, yo, bro, like, what you doing, man? I had a good thing going here.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. But yeah, no, Cora Jade showing some fire. It was pretty good. And credit to Sean Burkhead for this line I'm going to steal for him. The coronation. Boris, the Cora Jade coronation. It's coming. It's stand and deliver. She might be winning this title.
Yeah, it's really looking like it, isn't it?
And I think maybe the Raquel Gonzalez thing could be an injury angle to explain why she is not in the match, and they put the belt on Cora.
And then she magically heals and shows up on Raw or SmackDown, and her career's over. Anyways, moving on.
God.
I'm joking. Am I, though? Indy Hartwell was watching highlights from Kai and Chu match earlier, or actually from their match from last week. I don't know why I put Kai and Chu. Anyways, they were watching videotape from last week. Persia Perota shows up to brag about Duke Hudson taking her on a hot date. Perota talks about how she carried their team when Hartwell was swooning over Dexter Lumis. Hudson tried to get in between the fighting. Hartwell then challenged Perota to a match. Hartwell left. Hudson said Perota asks Perota if she needs a training partner. Perota said, why wait? And they get it on.
Yes, and then they eat each other's face, actually, is how that went. But yeah, so really seems like the turn might be coming next week. Indy versus Persia, 1-on-1, NXT 2.0. And yeah, it was Wendy and Dakota that they lost to in round 1. So you were right.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyways, where am I? All right, MSK and Imperium making their way because it's time for their match. But before that, the hardest working reporter in all of professional wrestling, Mackenzie Mitchell, interviews Tiffany Stratton about her loss from earlier in the night. Stratton said that the attack by Sarai was uncalled for. Stratton said she only tried to give Sarai advice the week before due to Sarai's medallion being quote-unquote tacky. Stratton said she isn't just going to break Sarai's necklace, but she'll also break Sarai's face.
To quote the great 50 Cent, is I'll break your face. So yeah, yes, Tiffany Stratton doing that 50 thing. Get rich or die trying, Tiffany.
Yep. All right, and what's going to lead us into a triple threat at Stand and Deliver? Imperium's Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner versus MSK, Wesley, and Nash Carter for the NXT Tag Team Championship. This match was only given 5 minutes and 33 seconds, and to, honestly, no one's real surprise, it went to a no contest.
Yeah, classic no contest DQ shenanigans situation when the Creed brothers run in and lay waste. Boris, did you see Brutus almost kill Fabian Aichner with a German suplex?
Yes. Yes, he beat him with his own move.
Oh, he almost murdered him dead in cold blood with his own move. I watched it back, and Fabian does get his hands up and roll out of the way, which is just a testament to how absolutely incredible and athletic that guy is. But yeah, Brutus Creed almost dropped this man on the crown of his head with a terrible German suplex.
Yep. And the Creeds are kind of the team standing after all of this. Yeah, Creeds. There we go. Beating people up since 2021.
Yes, yeah. So we've seen Imperium Bros and MSK Bros have good matches. We'll see if the Creed Bros can mix in with them and have a good triple threat match. The Creed brothers have been okay recently, but yeah, this was quite disappointing to me because both of these tag teams, Imperium and MSK, now are sick, and we didn't get really much of a match. They barely got out of first gear. They did a couple things, and then this happened. So typical WWE nonsense. 2.5 zags out of 5, right on that Mendoza line. Still good, but it was just classic WWE.
Yep. Gacy and Harlan show up to confront Draco Anthony. Joe Gacy told Draco to allow them into his life. Zion Quinn shows up and said that Gacy is trying to get into Draco's head. Gacy said he'll give Draco time to think about this and how he'll be waiting as they leave.
It's kind of fun. Devil on your shoulder, angel on your shoulder bit with Draco Anthony. This wasn't so bad.
No, it wasn't. Ziggler cuts a promo from the gorilla position saying he's going to ruin everyone else's WrestleMania weekend plans. He said to hit his music, which, there we go. He makes his entrance. All right, back from commercial. And Matthew, Mateo, it's happening. A-Kid, NXT UK wrestler. God. He's coming stateside. A-Kid said he's going to make his NXT US debut next week. I needed a cigarette after this.
I'm both so excited and scared because this means to some degree they're watching UK. They know what's going on. But yeah, A-Kid is one of the absolute best wrestlers alive. I will say that to anybody. He's an incredible technician, and he's also an incredible high flyer. I'm not saying he's like Zack Sabre Jr. meets Ricochet, but like that's what he's trying to be. You know what I mean? He's not quite as good as Zack Sabre Jr. He's not quite as good as Ricochet, but the fact that he's in the conversation for both of those things, he's an incredible technician and an incredible high flyer. This guy is something truly special. Plus, he can sell, he can bump. All of his matches are structured well. You got to think he's part of that. Like, this kid is truly, truly something special in the ring. I mean it with all my heart. He is fantastic. I can't wait to see him get a shot.
And I don't mean to like say this like and knock him, but I think the person I'm going to compare him to the most is a Will Ospreay.
Yeah, man. And that's what kind of Will Ospreay wants to be, is that jack of all trades, like A+ at everything. And that's kind of what A-Kid is trying to be as well. He doesn't have A+ size. A-Kid looks like he's 5'6", 5'7", 170, maybe, but he's got everything else.
Yeah, A-Kid's going to need to eat some Serrano ham before he shows up and bulk up.
some of that Cousin Mikey baked ziti.
I'm just thinking of that line from The Sopranos again.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, man. I got to go back and watch that show.
Yep. All right, so Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett checked in from ringside and advertised the following matches for next week. You got Cameron Grimes versus Santos Escobar to qualify for the North American Championship ladder match. This pisses me off because you know Santos is going to fucking lose.
Yeah. Owned. Taken one.
Oh, my God. All right. It's time for the main event. Braun Breaker, your NXT champion, versus Tommaso Ciampa versus Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, so there were a couple, it wasn't as good as some of the previous matches in this feud. Actually, it was probably the worst match I've seen these combination of guys have. There were a couple moments where it broke down, but at the same time, spectacular last couple minutes, really shocking and fun ending that got a genuinely humongous reaction from the crowd.
Yep. So Breaker just about breaks Ziggler with a spear. Holy shit. His spears are just insane.
He is hitting people hard. And it's one thing, Dolph Ziggler seems to like love getting bumped and thrown around there. He seems to love the physicality of wrestling. But I bet you someone's going to get hit with that spear and not like it as much as Dolph Ziggler.
Yes. Oh, 100%. 100%. Someone's going to take exception to it because he just completely lays you out. All right, so Breaker gives Ziggler a spear. Breaker hits Ziggler with his military press slam. Bobby Roode runs out to pull the referee to ringside. Breaker gave Roode a super kick. Ciampa hits Breaker with a Willow's Bell and a fairy tale ending. Ziggler tried to steal the pin, but Breaker kicks out. Ciampa went for the DIY knee on Breaker, but Roode pulled Breaker to ringside. Ziggler came out of nowhere with a super kick on Ciampa to get the win. So, Matt, you called it. Breaker loses the title without actually losing the match. Dolph Ziggler, your new NXT champion at 12 minutes, 24 seconds.
12 minutes, 24 seconds. And yeah, I was actually thinking, man, this match kind of sucks. Like they're having an off night is what I was thinking until that finishing stretch, which was really hot. I think saved the match. So we're going to go 3 zags out of 5 for this one. Probably the worst match in the feud, but an incredible last moment there. And Dolph Ziggler, man, your new NXT men's heavyweight champion.
Yep. Dolph Ziggler, NXT champion. If you had told me this time last year that Dolph Ziggler would be your NXT champion, I would have laughed at you.
Would have laughed, but you know what? I also would have said that kind of makes sense. I can kind of see it, but it would have been like, wow, really? Not Gargano, not even Aleister Black, you know? No, certainly not. Not even the Velveteen Dream, Boris.
Not even Karrion Kross. Not even Keith Lee. Not even
Not Kyle
Adam
O'Reilly.
Cole. Not Kyle O'Reilly. Not Roderick Strong. Okay, Roderick Strong is still there, but you see what we're saying.
Damn. Wild. Not even the A-Kid, although the A-Kid's got a chance now, buddy.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. All right, so yeah,
same.
at bell to bell, this show was pretty good.
Yeah, I have no time for Tiffany Stratton, really. I think she's a worse version of Xia Brookside, who herself kind of is annoying, and I don't have much time for her. Yeah, man, other than that, it was a pretty solid show. Awesome job by Grayson Waller and LA Knight. I liked the women's Dusty Cup matches for what they were, the second being far superior to the first. And yeah, let's go. NXT's kind of rolling.
Yep. All right, let's level up before we head to the UK. 3 matches, nothing to write home about. Let's talk about them real fast. Dante Chen versus Javier Bernal.
Yes, Javier Bernal looks like a handsome Latin Bam Margera. Boris, Google Javier Bernal real quick. Telling you, it looks kind of like Bam Margera. Dante Chen wins. Typical wrestling match, as typical as you can get. We're gonna go 2.5 levels out of 5 for this one.
Yep. I would agree with you on that. All right, the second match was Tiffany Stratton, your favorite, versus Erica Yan.
Hey, 2 performers who are brand new, greener than grass. Nothing wrong with this match, but nothing particularly right with it. Although I do love Tiffany's finisher, the 360 Vader bomb. It's a nice move. Still, I would go 2 levels out of 5. Slight fail on this.
Yep.
One.
And then they've been demoted to this. Legado del Fantasmas, Rolo Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilder versus Malik Blade and Idris Inofi. I actually really like this match.
Yeah, this was pretty good. Actually, I may have underrated it at 3 levels out of 5. But yeah, Legado wins clean with their Russian leg sweep front kick combination.
Yep, that's level up. Half an hour, 3 matches, all short.
Yeah, so from this point forward, I officially quit. Boris, I'm out on level up unless we hear something particularly bad or particularly good happened.
So some would say you're leveling down.
I am leveling down. I am out. I quit the game.
All right, let us jump to the UK and chat some NXT UK. All right, NXT UK. Man, oh man, we're both getting so stuffy. You can tell as this show goes on.
That's so funny. Oh man, yeah. Sorry about that, loyal listeners. No, we'll figure it out once we get through this springtime season, Boris. But on the plus side, you know what was springing ahead is Nathan Frazier's career is springing forward.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, this main event just so freaking good, just amazing. We'll get there in a little bit because this show kind of went fast. I like the pacing on this show.
Yeah, big time. So yeah, let's not waste much time ourselves. We started with a mean guy match, Boris. Two big hosses, Mark Coffey versus Shaw Samuels. What'd you think of this one?
The UK Madcap Moss.
The Mark Coffey line or the Shaw Samuels line?
Shaw Samuels.
Yeah, I like Shaw Samuels. He's coming along, but he's got the suspenders and everything, man. He is the UK Madcap.
Yeah, 100%. I've said this so many times, and it's like, it's so funny. Yeah, like you said, two big guys going at it. Mark Coffey ends up winning because he connects with a sliding European uppercut, gets the win over Shaw Samuels.
Yes, 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Mark Coffey calls that move the crowning glory, Boris, the sliding European uppercut. We're going to go. I'm a sucker for a big hoss battle, a mean guy match. That's what I love about wrestling. So we're going to go 3 supernovas out of 5 for this one. But, maybe it was pretty typical WWE. But you know what? I'm for it. I like Shaw Samuels. I like Mark Coffey. So 3 out of 5.
Yep. All right. Charlie Dempsey promised A-Kid that he wasn't like the other members of D Familia and that he hadn't been acting himself lately. Tioman and Rohan Raja then attacked A-Kid from behind. Dempsey was a little hesitant, but then peer pressure got to him, and he joins in on the attack of future NXT USA star A-Kid.
Yeah, so he actually stopped them at first. Was like, what are you guys doing? And they looked at him like, man, what are you doing? We'll kick your ass. And then he was like, all right, well, let's go.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny. There is some tension here. It would be cool to see this, to have been able to see this story develop, but it looks like A-Kid might just be going stateside really fast. But yeah, next week, Boris, A-Kid versus Charlie Dempsey in the ring. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, that match is going to be insane. And then we go to the segment of the week in all of professional wrestling. Ilja Dawn vows to win the NXT UK Women's Championship.
Boris, a huge fan of Ilja Dawn. She is the spookiest character in WWE probably at this point. She is the new Bray Wyatt, the new Undertaker. We'll see if she'll hit those successes. I'm not sure if she's going to hit the same heights, but maybe she'll go 22-0 at WrestleMania.
Jesus Christ. Mustache Mountain met up with Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter. Trent Seven said that he did not cheat, but was instead better than Smith and Carter and did anything he needed to ensure that they would retain their NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Smith and Carter demanded a rematch. Tyler Bate agrees to this.
Yeah, and it kind of seemed like they were hinting at maybe going 2 out of 3 falls.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure exactly how that's going to play out, but they basically said, like, if we beat you, you're just going to ask for a rematch. So we don't want to do it twice. We want to get it all done now. And they just kind of kept referencing twice, 2. And so I'm thinking it's going to be 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah. But it would be interesting if this scenario happens. If Mustache Mountain gets the first pin, now they're up 2-0. And then the other guys, what's their names? Smith and Carter, get the 2 to win the match. And then they're tied at 2-2. So we're going to have a rubber match out of this anyways, I think.
I like that, though. That's pretty cool. I like where your head's at on that one. That'd be fun storytelling, in my opinion.
Yep. All right. Jack Stars and Dave Mastiff versus Pretty Deadly.
Weird match. It was a little basic, pretty standard fare for the first 8.5, 9 minutes of a 10.5 minute match. I really liked the last couple minutes in this thing. The finishing stretch was strong, and a big win for Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars, specifically Jack Stars.
Yeah, I was actually surprised because I don't know. For me, Pretty Deadly is still high ranked in the tag team division, but I guess they really want to give Stars and Mastiff a chance.
Yeah, I guess so. And hey, man, if you think you have something there, you can't just push Pretty Deadly all the time. They've been on top of it. Basically, the entire pandemic, they were on top of the tag team division. So,
yep, man. Can you imagine Pretty Deadly versus Imperium, Pretty Deadly versus MSK? The Creed brothers killing Pretty Deadly.
Screw that. Pretty Deadly versus RK Bro. You might as well put them all the way up.
Oh, that would be beautiful. That would honestly be beautiful. And it just, seeing Randy Orton in that sort of situation would be so funny.
It would be pretty great. Actually, you know what? And I'm not saying I want it to go the same, but it would be pretty funny coming full circle. We've said it so many times. Pretty Deadly remind us of Edge and Christian. What if Pretty Deadly became the new Edge heads? Became Edge's new lackeys anyway. Became his like muscle, his undertow.
Honestly, I feel like Edge needs to do that with this AJ Styles thing, at least for one week, right? Like just let's go full circle on all this. All right. Zaya Brookside complaining to daddy on the phone because she sucks.
Yeah, she's just like, it's an annoying character. She's got a shrill, annoying voice, and she's trying to get under your skin, and she's doing a great job with it. But it's
That's
annoying
the thing,
television.
right? It's annoying because she's doing her job, but it's still annoying.
You can objectively look at Zaya Brookside and say, this performer is doing an excellent job with what she is being told to do. But you could still say, I hate it. I hate this character. She's good, but I hate it. You know?
Yep. All right. A truck driver is shown looking around in the woods. An unknown voice discussed how they fought to survive by resorting to any means necessary. A mysterious figure appears at the end of the vignette.
Wild Boar is back, it seems.
Yep. Wild Boar. That is right.
Wild Boar. He can shoot, he can score. What's his name? Wild Boar. Let's go.
Well, Noam Dar will defend his Heritage Cup against Joe Coffey next week, and this leads us into a match that we're going to be talking on December 31st or January 1st, 2023, and that is Ilja Dragunov versus Nathan Frazier.
You got that right, buddy. This is penciled in already to the list. It will be on the top 122 of 2022. This match was spectacular. 14 minutes and 42 seconds. A match built on respect, a classic babyface versus babyface situation. It wasn't as good as Bret Hart versus 1-2-3 Kid, but it was better than CM Punk versus Darby Allin. It was somewhere in between those two matches.
Yeah, no, it was such a good match. It was such a good match. Look, you've been high on Nathan Frazier since the get-go. I like him, but you've really liked him. But and so you know, going into a match when you have high expectations sometimes is the worst thing humanly possible. But I gotta say, this match was just spectacular on every level of it. Like, Ilja Dragunov is just so good. The way he uses his body as a weapon in the ring is just insane.
Oh, with like reckless abandon, throwing himself into his opponent over and over again. But yeah, man, people kind of forget about Nathan Frazier. Like he was hot for a second. He showed up on an AEW show as Ben Carter, had a spectacular match, and then signed with WWE UK and kind of fell in between the cracks a little bit, just a little bit. But he has found his footing. He is getting strong pushes in NXT UK. He's having big matches, man. He wrestled Gunther. He wrestled the champ, Ilja Dragunov, had a good showing both times. It's looking like there's going to be a bright future for this Ben Carter, this Nathan Frazier. And I'm pumped to see it. This match was spectacular.
And I'm going to say this. If there's one match you're going to watch in the entire NXT brand in WWE, it is Ilja Dragunov versus Nathan Frazier.
Yes, absolutely. This was the best match we're talking about on the podcast. I'd go as far to say this is top 3 WWE match of the year. The only 2 matches that are even close to it are Dragunov versus Jordan Devlin, Empty Arena, and Rollins versus Reigns from the Royal Rumble. Those are the only 2 matches that are even close to this level in all of WWE this year.
Dude, if AEW Revolution wasn't this past weekend, I would say that Ilja Dragunov, Nathan Frazier was match of the week. Having said that, I would still rate it top 3.
Interesting. So yeah, high praise, man. Go out of your way to watch this match. Both of these guys are sick. 2 of the best. And NXT UK has some of the best talent. Just alone in Dragunov, Frazier, and A-Kid, I think they have like 3 pillars who in a lot of ways could rival AEW's 4 pillars. You know what I mean? In terms of pure in-ring talent, absolutely. Absolutely. Dragunov and A-Kid, are you kidding me? Nathan Frazier too? I would rank Nathan Frazier number 3 out of those guys, and he's incredible.
Yep. Agreed 100%. Agreed 100%. 100%.
I see what you're saying there, buddy, and I just got to say I 1,000,000,000% agree with you on that one.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, man. Anyway, speaking How many supernovas would you give this match?
This match, I think the first two matches were 3 supernovas out of 5. This match, 4 1/4 supernovas out of 5. 80%. It's an 85% rather. It's a hard A, no A minus, hardcore, stone cold match of the year contender.
Yep, honestly, such a freaking good match. Matt, we're done with NXT for the week. What do we have to look forward to over the next few weeks in the NXT brand of WWE?
Thank you for asking, big homie. We have tomorrow night or afternoon, if you're Eastern Standard Time, NXT UK, the match that I'm looking forward to most in all of pro wrestling right now. A-Kid versus Charlie Dempsey. Charlie Dempsey, the son of William Regal. A-Kid, we've been spending the entire show sucking him off. So that was pretty lewd. I apologize. I'm excited for A-Kid versus Charlie Dempsey is my point. Also on NXT UK next episode will be Noam Dar versus Joe Coffey for the NXT UK Heritage Cup. I appear to have broken Boris. NXT 2.0 next week. We have Cameron Grimes versus Santos Escobar. Indy Hartwell versus Persia Parada. Probably Sarai versus Tiffany Stratton. Probably A-Kid versus Kushida. It looks like they set that up. And we might also have the Women's Dusty Cup final, although we don't know quite when the Dusty Cup final is coming. Stand and Deliver at noon Eastern on April 2nd. We know for sure we have a 5-man ladder match. Carmelo Hayes will take on Cameron Grimes or Santos Escobar and 3 other guys.
It's gonna be Cameron Grimes.
It's gonna be Cameron Grimes. All right, we got through it, buddy. We did it, and I'm never watching Level Up again as long as I live.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we'll see about that. All right, so on the SNME network, you got the old Fs coming at you with All Elite Weekly on Thursday. On Friday, Matt and I are back chatting. Bam, chatting some sports, chatting some entertainment, chatting some sports entertainment. That's on Friday. Saturday, you have Dose shows. Saturday, as your Smack Daddies chat all things SmackDown. And then the Dark Side of the Elite. Roll on with the Rampage rollouts. And this leads us into Sunday. And Sunday, it's always time for the flagship show with Mike McGuire. And this week, we have a huge interview with the NWA champion, Matt Cardona.
So pumped to check that out. Great get by Mike. Very excited to see what Matt Cardona has to say about his rise up the independent wrestling ranks over the past couple of years.
Yep, exactly. I think it's going to be, and it sounds like it was a fun chat. Ballergear.ca for all your SNME merch. Matt, I think we both need to sleep. He's Matt. I'm Boris. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on Friday on BAM. Goodbye.
Keep your allergies in check out there. Aye, aye.